Okay, we have collected the seagrass. So step one of the experiment is to clean the seagrass.
All right, so basically what they did was collect the sea turtle grass. What we were looking for, turtle grass had not been grazed or had not been eaten yet, and you can tell that because you have this rounded edge, and obviously you would see little bites in here if it was grazed already. They had to take the epiphytes. I don't know if you can see the epiphytes, but these little organisms here, certain marine organisms that frequent the seagrass have a preference to the amount of epiphytes on the leaf. For us to complete the experiment is to clean the epiphytes off, because this is something that we wanted to keep constant within the experiment.
Step two, weigh the seagrass.
We're weighing each set of leaves. So when we take them back out the water after 24 hours, we can see if they've been eaten, how much they've changed in weight by things eating them.
Eaten by parrotfish, turtles, and other juvenile fish.
Step three is to photograph the seagrass to measure the area of the leaf.
We're separating out the leaves so we can, when we eventually put it on the computer, we can measure the area of the leaf.
All right. Step four is to make the tethers to hold the seagrass in place.
The trick is that you want to make this look as natural as possible. So what you want to do is unwind the sisal rope until you get a hole like that where it'll come straight up. So you're actually going to unclip, just tuck the strand of seagrass through there, really right under there, and then you're going to take your peg and clip it on the outside of the rope just to hold it in place. Perfect. Okay, now let's see if we tighten that up. Yep, that's pointing up pretty well.
Okay. Step five is to head out and deploy the tethers.
We came to the conclusion that we thought that the seagrass would be eaten more rapidly at the coral location.
We decided that was kind of a good decision because if we put it in with the seagrass where the mangroves are and in the seagrass beds, there's a higher population of seagrass there. It's much more dense. So there's less chance that our seagrass is going to get grazed on.
I think the seagrass will be eaten more in the seagrass bed because fish around the seagrass would eat the seagrass. Those in the coral reef, there's a more adult fish, if you will, and they would kind of eat fish or other animals, not seagrass.
I think personally that it will probably be eaten more at the coral reef because there's bigger fish and more fish, so there's more chance of it getting eaten.
I would think probably in the seagrass meadow where the seagrass is there, remembering that it is a refuge and a hiding place for these smaller mesograzers. So typically I would think that in the seagrass meadow you would probably have more grazing because in the other areas I believe there's going to be less seagrass. Who knows, when we get there it may be a different story. So we have prepared these tethers, and basically we are going to deploy them at each of the different locations, and then we will retrieve them in 24 hours, and we're going to look to see at the amount of grazing that each of the tethers have received.
Where we are here, we've got access to seagrass, coral reef, and just around the corner we can get to our mangrove site.
You're going to start with one end. Everyone can see? All right, you're going to start, so let's just say we start with this end right here. You're going to dig this end in first, all right? Make sure it gets in. With the help of your partner, you want to pull this taut and then kind of stick this one in. Don't try to go down there and stick them in together.
There you are.
Yeah, there's a land hermit crab that's very rare in Bermuda now, sort of about fist size, with these great big legs, and it's so big there's no other univalve big enough for him to make a home in, so they have to move into these, and they're even more rare than these guys are. So this is the West Indian top shell. If you see one, leave it in the water. Leave it in the water or on the rocks, and hopefully our hermit crabs will come back.
It'd be interesting to find out how much has been eaten by either the reef fish or the fish in the seagrass meadow or by the mangroves. It'll be interesting to find out where the most grazing occurs.
I mean, it's out there, it was pretty hard because it was deeper water. And just having to equalize at the same time as swimming down, just kind of hard.
We put it down, there are some little baby fish down there already at the tethers, so it's looking pretty good already.
One of the things we have to do is mark exactly where we put all the tethers. So we're going to get a GPS mark on them. This is our GPS unit, so this is a satellite receiver. It's picking up the satellites above us now. So what we're going to do is get the boat in gear, just move forward right over the tether area, and what I'm going to get you to do is once we're there, just hit the enter button.
Westerly is 39.726. 32 degrees. 39.68.
Like I said, I think the seagrass, that environment, it's a refuge for the fish. Maybe that's where they will eat, and that's where they kind of stay and remain. So we'll see. I don't know. I'm not really sure. But yeah, said it's 84. Going around the reef area should be easier to
A couple of the blades that we pulled out have these tiny little green snails on them. They're called emerald nerites, and they love the seagrass. They move around incredibly quickly for a snail. If you see this one here, he's covering almost a centimeter a second, booking around. And I think they do eat, they are herbivorous, they do eat, graze on the seagrass.